What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the economic calendar thus far, as we have more data coming out for tomorrow, which is for the most part very, very minor. I'm also going to talk about some news involving NIO in the markets, what you should be watching for as time progresses. But before I begin to double this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon. Anyways, for NIO, this thing has been on a bit of a downtrend, continuing to fall as time progresses, and we're approaching this support at the $5 area. Now, if we lose this support, there's going to be a risk of this coming all the way down to about 4.8 because this is leading to asymmetrical looking head and shoulders, right? We have this left shoulder here, we have this head up here, and we have this right shoulder that is formed, and this chart is continuing to downtrend, and this wick does fall all the way down to 4.8, which is where we have this support. So there's a risk of this thing coming all the way down towards that level. Now, I haven't been able to use Webull on today's video because Webull has some glitches for me, so it's not really working as well. So I'm going to prioritize using TradingView for the time being, and then we'll see if anything improves later on. Just wanted to note that. Anyways, for data coming out for tomorrow is going to be Friday, March 22nd. We have Barr giving a speech alongside Bostic, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing else that's too significant that's coming out. On top of this, excuse me, guys, I apologize. On top of this, we have Nike announcing earnings alongside FedEx announcing earnings right now. And for the most part, we got most of the data. So Nike has beaten on holiday revenue, but with Chinese sales slowing, this is actually leading to some concerns about guidance, and that in turn has led to the share price falling. So Chinese sales are slowing down during the holiday quarter. They did beat estimates, with EPS being a beat alongside revenue right here, but the shares have dropped because of the fact that with net income not being the best and their Chinese sales kind of dropping in particular, this is leading to some concerns. They're below some expectations, and there is some fear about this having a negative effect on their earnings. So that happening, Nike is down in the after hours despite having decent earnings. Just their guidance was not the best and their Chinese sales not the best. Besides that, everything else was decent. For FedEx, they announced a $5 billion buyback and they beat on earnings. Their EPS was a nice beat at $3.86, beating the estimates of $3.46. And $21 billion was their revenue, just a little bit below what expectations were. Besides that, they had very, very strong guidance for what I was looking for, looking at their full year earnings per share ratio of 17 to 25 to 18.25, something like that. That is actually not bad whatsoever. So with good guidance, decent earnings, the share price is up quite a bit. For NIO, some news came out that their new Envo and Firefly brands are aiming for mass volume in Europe. There's a video of the CEO, William Lee, been actually sitting inside of one of these Envo variants and kind of showing the interior about how nice it is and how it's going to be very luxurious for families. This is actually going to be very, very important because it's going to be a big competitor with that of Tesla and other companies out there. So we'll have to see how well this does. They do need more volume, sales volume to go up as fast as possible to reach those levels. And for now, we're going to be watching to see how this improves. Besides that, UBS gave them a neutral rating. There's not much changing in terms of data. The price-price ratio is a little bit down, showing some weakness relative to the market. We also tend to be green only about 53% of the time on Fridays, but we have to see if NIO could bounce off key support. Watch for volatility at 11 o'clock a.m. and also during the second to last hour of the day. Besides that, that's all I'm seeing, at least for NIO for now. Additionally, we have volume at about 47 million, a little bit below average, so we're not really getting the best of volume. Short volume did drop a little bit to about 45%, but that's pretty much it, at least for the time being. So that being said, NIO is in a very, very nice position. It's on a slight downtrend right over here. We're approaching this $5 area. We're still looking quite bearish, but we have to see if we can try to bounce off this 5 area. If we fail to do so, then 4.8 is coming. So watch and see how well we hold $5. If we get that break, we could be looking for a push for 5.26 if we do break past 5.1. If we fail to get that break and continue selling, we could be seeing 4.8 before we get the bounce. Unfortunately, as we're in a falling wedge-like pattern, a bounce could be decent, but I don't think we're ready for it yet, as the share price is continuing to sink and we're approaching this level right here at 4.8. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing does actually end up falling to 4.8 before we get the bounce. And that's very, very probable, at least for the time being. So I do find that to be one of the most likely possibilities. On the other hand, when it comes to SPY, I want to talk about SPY real quick. SPY is not looking the best. So this thing did push to about 524, but now it's forming kind of like a head and shoulders like structure. Nothing is guaranteed yet. If we're bullish, you want to see it break 524 and push to 525 plus. If we're bearish, you want to see it lose 522. We did actually close on the lower end of that area. So if we do lose this 522 support, we're going to be sinking all the way down to 520 tomorrow. We will see if this head and shoulders plays out. There are a lot of puts expiring, but that's not always a guarantee, win for the bulls, because you have to remember that we have to try to get closer to max pain, and there are other factors affecting us. So this chart kind of looks like it might reverse, but nothing is guaranteed until we get a confirmation break. The daily chart does show potential reversal, but nothing's guaranteed until we get that break. So we'll have to wait and see. So watch the levels I called out. The odds do favor it coming down, but just to be safe, we'll have to wait. For the QQQ, then we looking to see if we get a rebound and then start dropping. If we lose 446, there's going to be a risk of it coming all the way down towards 442, which is where 444, then 442. For resistance, watch 446 and 448. With this potential reversal structure, I could see this actually dropping. And this could lead to even more downside. So I'm going to be very, very careful with the QQQ. As of right now, this is not looking the best. There is a potential rejection that could be coming because of the fact that we got rejected from this resistance after breaking this high. The last time we hit 448, we ended up coming down. So there's some risk on the QQQ, so just be very careful with it. So with Tesla, we're seeing something very similar. Tesla had this big rejection. We had a potential rising wedge-like structure that was developing. Could this be a break below it? It's a possibility, but not a guarantee yet. And if this is like a symmetrical structure, like a head and shoulders, if Tesla's going to come down here, are we going to shuffle for a bit and then eventually start selling off more, or are we about to bounce? I think that Tesla's going to attempt to rebound a bit, so we're going to be watching 173.75. If we do break this, we could see a retest of 175, and if we reject and establish a lower high, this could be a sign of a rejection. So look for a little rebound and a rejection as the most likely possibility. But and the reason I say that is because we got a lot of bad news involving politics. But if you want to turn bullish, you want to see at least close above 175 tomorrow. So we'll just have to wait and see. My gut is telling me it's going to rebound a bit, then just trade sideways. But there is a risk of it selling off now, since we have like a head and shoulder structure, and we're getting some bad news involving the SEC potentially opening a probe. This is because of lots of politics and just other stuff like that getting in the way. What else could be a little negative for Tesla is Aapl. So Aapl is actually, it came all the way down to 170.9, trying to rebound a little bit, but the DOJ opened an investigation on them, and they're also suing Aapl because of the fact that they believe that there's monopolistic power from these iPhones, and they're using it in very, very horrible antitrust violations. So we're going to be looking for 172.5. If we do end up kind of like hitting this, see if we get a rejection or not. If we do reject off 172.5, we're going to be coming back down. If we break past it, we're going to be pushing for 174 again for a little retest. So I'm going to be watching this very, very carefully. We could actually see this thing attempt to push higher before we continue, so just be a little careful. But I do worry that this thing is going to push a little bit higher to like 172.5 to 173, consolidate, and make its way right back down. So that's a strong possibility as well. And finally, we have Nvidia. So the concern I do have for Nvidia is the fact that this is looking, excuse me, this is not looking that great, because we have like a double top leg structure. And if we end up losing 908, this is going to start sinking. We barely closed above it at 912. So we did manage to hold above it, which is decent, but I am concerned that this double bottom may lead to a sell-off that could slow the QQQ down. So that being said, guys, please be very, very careful with the charts. There are some risks of downside that can translate to other tickers. With that being said, NIO is going to be testing $5. We'll see if it bounces or not. If it fails to bounce, this thing is going to be sinking all the way down to 4.8. If not, it is what it is. But with that being said, thank you for listening. Have a great day, and peace out.